work through my initial poll here of the exhibitors that went ahead and got a pin. It was the exhibitors that I thought had the best game plan of going around the ring and presenting their animal to the judge. Also, and it might be a personal thing and showmanship. I think your animal's skin and hair needs to be really, really nice as well. And so, as we get out here, we'll talk about the ones once we get into our finals. But I thought our exhibitors that made the pool here did the best job in regards to not only driving at me, but then having a game plan and going the opposite direction and working the ring in a very good way. And so we're going to go ahead and excuse the exhibitors here in the ring. If you would put your hands together for them as we move through our second heat of our senior showmanship.
Would one of the photographers, could you please come to the announcer stand, please? One of the photographers.
as we get out here in our second heat. A really good group from top to bottom. And as I go to the microphone here, there's several exhibitors that I think are very, very close calls. And I think it comes down to our consistency amongst the entire group during this heat. I feel like I personally probably have some pretty high standards for our showmen as we work through this particular group, and I don't want to make an excuse here or there as we go through that. And so, honestly, it comes down to making sure our hog wasn't to maybe stop and go. What I mean by that is sometimes if we take a turn or maybe we don't direct our hog in the right way and we run into another one and those type of things. And so, several of our exhibitors do a great job with eye contact and head control. Just comes down to our long-term consistency. So if you would, let's put our hands together for our exhibitors as they exit. A really good group from top to bottom. I hope as a county, everyone prides themselves on the way that they raise their young people. And as we get out here and senior showmanship, I don't think we've had a bad showman come to the ring. I think it comes down to some personal preferences. And as we get out here, I know some hogs have probably been in the ring 2, maybe 3 times. And so they're maybe a little bit worked up. But I personally favor showmen that do the most without having to use their whip the most. And so I guess you could say do the most with doing the least. And as we get out here, I will sound repetitive and say the same thing several times during showmanship. I like to see a young person with a game plan that works the ring, doesn't get cut off by other exhibitors and those type of things. And I think that there's several exhibitors that stood out to me of having that game plan that I keep referencing and to activate that, or I guess you could say execute whenever they come to the ring is something that I think is very important. And so I like those type of things. I think there's one exhibitor out here. It's not easy, but I do think in terms of eye contact, the way they get their hog presented out here. And then I do think that there's an awesome game plan of making sure they don't crowd me too much. They use the ring. They're very forceful in regards to making sure they hit the holes that they're after. And then at the same time, they do it without having to use their whip too much. And so I hope everyone here in senior showmanship recognizes our buckle sponsors and the ones that are going to go ahead and hand that to us. The gentleman that's going to present the buckle said he showed with that crook right there in 1941. That crook right there. And so I think that's pretty amazing. Showed at the first San Antonio Stock Show and won the first San Antonio Stock Show. Second. Gotcha. Alrighty, and so that's incredible history, and I honestly know I think that would be pretty cool to ask about how things started. And so they use a little bit different whips nowadays than back then. We should make the champion use that next year. Yeah, next year we'll have to use that, and we'll give them at the gate and see who can do it the best. And so that's awesome. I enjoyed our discussion before we got into our senior showmanship. And so with that being said, it's not easy. Our champion showman's the young lady right here in front of me. Congratulations to her.
Your champion swine showman for the senior division is Haley Kaiser. Congratulations, and thank you, Schneider family, Edgar Schneider family. I've known all y'all for so long. Y'all are a great icon in this community as far as the hog industry goes. Your dad started the Duroc breed way back in when, and Harry Melroy, we respect y'all, and thank you so much. We will now bring our intermediate group of showmen. They will be also in 2 waves, 18 and 19 in each group. The buckle for intermediate showmen is sponsored by BC Show Hogs. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. It's Seguin Swine Breeders, excuse me. Seguin Swine Breeders is sponsoring the buckle for intermediate. If I could have your attention for a second here, we are looking for a lady's turquoise earring that was lost. One of our contestants, I believe, lost it. If you look around you where you're at or whatever, if you see anything, maybe in this dust, I have no idea where it could be, but it is very much wanted, needed. If you see it, please turn it into the announcer stand. Thank you.
we have a large heat here in our next division, and as we get out here and we make, or I make our first decisions, I was a little bit quicker to do that. We had maybe a little bit of delay midway, and I was trying to find the exhibitors that I thought did the best job of positioning themselves in a way that, today, if I didn't initially pull you, I still had a good look at your hog. And so as we get out here, I do think that there's some very close calls of where a showmanship judge could do some different things. And I went to the microphone this time with a thought in my mind of, if we if they watched, they might think that showmanship or this heat might be over. And I think it's important to show the entire time that you're in the ring. And I say that I'm going to keep one more exhibitor. I thought when I went to the microphone, this person actually perked up and kept driving. I think that's important, and I think it's important to make sure that you're always doing what you practice at home and to the highest level you possibly can. Young man right here, we're going to keep you for the finals also. You can put your hog in a pin. Congratulations to you. I think it's close. I know everybody is doing a nice job. We do really good with our head control in several areas. I thought every once in a while we would get kind of lost in the mix right there. The young lady there with the second place in their first class of hams do a very good job. Then we kind of get in the mix with everybody right there, and then our hog stops on us a little bit, try to stay a little bit more in the open. And so I think a great group from top to bottom, like we've done the entire day, and especially during showmanship. Put your hands together for our exhibitors, and we'll work through the next heat. It's not easy out here. The young people are doing a great job. Good job. as we get out here in this heat in our intermediate division. I feel like our ability to be very good in our ring awareness and just feel very comfortable out here becomes something that, as a showmanship judge, I feel like I can recognize amongst several exhibitors, making sure that we have the ability to really present our hog, but also know where I am at all times and continue to show to a very high level. And so, with that being said, in this group, I feel like there's several exhibitors that do a nice job of positioning themselves in the right position next to their hog, do a nice job with eye contact, but our hogs maybe don't get out and drive for us just as good as maybe they need to in this competitive of a setting. And so our exhibitors here in the ring are going to head back to the barn, if you would. Pay him off with a nice round of applause as we work into the finals. Congratulations on a great day and your efforts here at this year's show. An awesome group here, our intermediate division. And I know one thing, I'm sure as you grow up in this county. I'm sure the dogfight to win showmanship from the time you're able to show until senior year is something that doesn't get taken lightly, and it should get taken lightly because I think that's an extremely high honor. And I think some things come down to situational things of this afternoon. You can do everything perfect at home. Your hall come out here and not be a good team player, and then I have to be the mean show judge or showmanship judge that has to tell you maybe didn't do this or that right. And so when we get back out here, I'm not going to nitpick our showmanship out here today. I personally have to react to which showman I think do the nicest job. I don't think anybody did a perfect job out here, and that can make it a little bit challenging for what I have to do. I don't mean to sound critical, but I had one or two in my mind at different times, and I then had to maybe readjust. And so with that, our showmanship winner, I think, does a very good job of being aggressive, yet still making sure their hog is presented and is out from the crowd. I do wish we were just a little softer with their whip, and every once in a while our hog will duck their head just a bit. But the hog's endurance allows that hog to go a fast speed, yet still never get burnt out. And I do think that we do a good job of planning when you're going to drive at me, and then whenever we maybe make a turn and go the other direction. Like I said, I will admit that our champion could maybe use our whip just a little bit softer, but I think does a very good job of being intense, aggressive, and standing out in this lineup. Young man with the bluegill will be our champion. Congratulations to him.
Congratulations, Braden Forts, Marion FFA. He will be our intermediate swine. I'm sorry, our intermediate showmanship champion. As soon as we clean the arena out, we're going to start with our juniors. The buckle for the intermediate is donated by Seguin Swine Breeders. attention to the barn. Make sure you bring us your sales cards. They have to be filled out. Bring them to Stephanie up here at the desk. If you can, do it immediately so we can get the sales order set up. If you don't turn that card in, you will not be in a sales order. You will not sell on Saturday. So very important you get that information to us, okay? Thank you.
Well, as we conclude here on our final showmanship division, I think this is awesome. And they were coming in the rink here, our younger exhibitors, I was thinking to myself, I enjoyed playing sports growing up a whole bunch. I think that was all. I mean, I enjoyed that. We did that all the time. But at the end of the year, you line up and you have closing ceremonies, and everyone still gets a trophy. And I think Livestock showing can kind of create this competitive nature to you, unlike anything else, because you should get upset maybe when you don't make the pool in class or in showmanship. And I say that because you can look out here and you can see a lot of young people that want it real bad. And I think if that doesn't get you a little bit excited or just make you just kind of pumped up, I think you should probably find a different hobby. And so whenever we get out here, and I know we're going to have to excuse them back to the barn, let's put our hands together for our young people in this division because, and I know it sounds rather cliche, and I know those things, but I just want you to put yourself in my position for a minute. I turn around and I have all these young people looking at me with a burning desire to succeed. You don't see that everywhere. You don't see that to everyone that steps in the batter's box or maybe breaks the huddle or maybe goes to spike the volleyball. But when you sit in here as a showmanship judge and you turn around and maybe their hog's not going to walk right now perfect for you, or the young man there in the far corner that got third in the lightweight hand class, he needs to be on the other side every once in a while when he comes to me. But that young man's a hustler. And I say these things because I got to be pretty critical out here today, but I just want to let every young person know that I want you to stay with it. You've done your homework at home. I have to make some close calls, but we're going to go ahead and let these exhibitors back towards the barn, but I hope we don't let them leave empty-handed. Put your hands together for them as they exit. Well, as we finish off the day and I look down at my watch, it's been a long day, and these young people, some of them showed early in the day, some showed there in the crosses, and so I want to congratulate all of our exhibitors here in this division. And as we get back out here, I really like this group from top to bottom as you study their body positioning and where they put themselves in relation to, the spot on the hog. And so I kind of think they all do a nice job of being right there, what I call kind of in the hip pocket, right in front of their hip, and have really good control. And so as we get out here, and I know hogs are wearing down on us pretty quick, I think there's an exhibitor out here that does things very naturally, and I know showmanship judges here or there might say don't use your offhand, and you probably shouldn't, but also when your hog acts up, you have to make sure that you get your hog going. And so to let you know just a little bit of a variable out here, I think there's a hog that's being a little bit hard-headed. but you may not know which one it is because the young person does such a good job of being calm and sticking with it. And I do think coming out of the pin the second time, I solidified my mindset on which one I was going to land on because they did such a good job of using the entire ring. Their whip placement and where they position themselves is right on point. And so, last time to talk for today, and just want to thank everybody for having me. I enjoyed my 2 years here during the market show. It's been extremely fun, and I hope everyone re-racks and gets ready for next year. With that said, our champion showman in this division, young lady right there with the black barrow. Congratulations to her.
And your champion junior showman is Alexis Schultze. Congratulations, Alexis. That concludes our show for today. We still have a floor trailer out back, I believe. We can load out now. Thank y'all for coming. Be careful driving home, and we'll see you back here next year.